Greetings, everyone. We have another report today from Jimi, and our discussion, actually it was another private session, but it got pretty interesting. We had a very difficult time connecting, and it was almost next to impossible to record. Everything just kept coming apart, so we had some serious interference in the process. So this is more information regarding Detroit Becomes Human, the whole Android dilemma in Detroit. So here it goes. Thank you for supporting our channel. And if you need to speak with me, visit www.readingsbyariel.com.
After many years, I mean, hell, I didn't even know. I'm not easy to control either, but especially me,
We're not supposed to be
in the Army.
controlled.
I never bought into that crap, and they put me out. Tried to give me a bad discharge, I they were going to expose us.
Sorry, there's someone just...
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
They're afraid we're going to expose us right now.
Well,
Yeah.
they're afraid that we're going to interfere with their agenda.
Oh,
And by saying
certainly
to
not going to let it
everyone
happen.
that Mobius and the androids are there and they're active and they're playing these games and they got, this stuff going on, and people know that there's something's up.
Oh, we're recording. See that?
Wow, let me see.
Finally. We only got a minute, but
Well, that's good.
I just kept trying, man. I'm not one to quit. But can we do something about this? I mean, like right now, we got to stop this shit if we can.
Yeah, the only thing I saw was it looked like they were working on the agenda to break the U.S. and literally that fault line from, like you said, Mississippi on up. And I could have sworn I just saw a bomb.
Did you see where it was, or?
It felt like it's not that far around you, and if it's intended to actually break the fault line, it's going to have to be quite powerful. I mean, I hope someone hears this and looks at it. I don't know exactly where it's at. I think that they're trying to block me from that part so I can't see it.
Can you ask your guides?
I'm asking Rodan or someone to step in.
Yeah, really.
And remove it, whatever they're trying to do. And that's why Gregory is saying the same thing over and over again to you. It's almost like he's got a scripted conversation. He can't go outside of those parameters.
Yeah, and just about every time I talk to him, it's he rattles it off like he's got it well rehearsed.
Well, that this is, and like you said, that you talked to the other staff, and they said that, he is not homeless. So that's part, he told you he was homeless, but he's not. And then they also said that they
didn't tell me he was homeless.
You thought he was homeless. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he just looked like he was.
Right. And then the other part is that you and the staff heard the story about him having a hardship with his girlfriend and his
parents, and
parents.
Sorry for him.
So then he's, if in fact he has some kind of feelings or anything there as an android, I don't know.
Uh-huh.
It's almost like a scenario where you find someone, someone comes in to use another for an agenda. They find someone that really doesn't have anything to live for. That's this kamikaze attitude, like the Muslims have. You
Right.
have nothing left. You have no family, you have no wife, you have no children, you have nothing or whatever. Or you have these great rewards in the afterlife. You have to, in order to get people in a mindset to use them, for some of these extreme behaviors, you have to find these people that have just disenfranchised from life, like
Yeah,
just don't.
And they're willing to give up their life for a cause or to send a message or whatever, to become famous in death and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And what a scenario to lay out. You have someone that's already telling this story of losing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he's the one that actually brings it in, or else he's surveying things. I have no idea what's going on. I don't like what I just saw.
No, not at all.
And that's why I feel like he's blocked us off. But you have to, people wouldn't understand. This is the way Mobius is. This is why people have been talking about this subtly. Like I think Al Bielek saw it when he went into the future. I had visions. I didn't even know who Al Bielek was. I had visions of the future, and I literally saw the U.S. as islands. And I was like, what's going on here? And it's like it was like portions of the U.S. with water, and I was like, this can't be right, and I was hoping I was in a parallel.
Yeah, I've seen that map where it looks like the country is like split in half with a big body of water right where the Mississippi used to be, all the way up to Michigan.
Well, now we know it's Mobius is the one that's behind it, because they had this, supposedly there's all sorts of underground, like I don't know, bombs or something that's kind of planted and buried somewhere like south, like in Mexico, or like somewhere down by the Gulf of Mexico, and maybe it was the Panama Canal.
Right. They might be some related to these toplet bombs or whatever that Cobra talks about.
Jeez.
You know what I mean? Have you ever heard that spoken of, toplet bombs? And there's some other kind of bomb too that if we contact any positive ETs, these bombs automatically go off.
Well, I don't know. I mean, because we are in contact with positive ETs.
Yeah, I know.
But yes, they've already tried. Like in Hawaii, they tried to bring in that nuke.
Yeah.
Over in Hawaii, and Andronicus came in. He didn't even tell me he was going to do it, but Andronicus does stuff quietly. Of course, he doesn't want any fanfare or anything like that. But he stepped in a situation where humans were asleep.
That was a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. They announced that there was some kind of incoming attack on TV that day. It was a Saturday. I remember it.
Yeah, I was looking at something in YouTube last night, how these people had like this broadcast going that said that there was some kind of attack happening. Right. And
it was.
It was, and the people didn't know what's going on, and they were like, well, is this a glitch? It sounded like some kind of AI message that came across the television, but not everyone got it. I don't know.
It was coming from a submarine, and it was launched, but it must have been Rodan that intercepted it. You said
that was Andronicus. It was Andronicus.
Andronicus, I mean.
Yeah, but I did ask for Rodan. What I just saw is this bomb related to. I'm positive that Mobius is involved in trying to break the U.S. And what I'm picking up is that they feel that the United States is too unified and are too much to take down. So they want to break it up in pieces. And this is where that vision that I had in the future, where the United States is like, islands.
Mm-hmm.
And they do that, and there's that fault, right, that goes up Mississippi, but that's what I'm looking at. Well, maybe Detroit becomes human is not just an experiment, but actually a tactical
Plan.
effort to survey the land and understand where they can go, what they can do, and the behaviors and patterns of the people, and data collecting.
Right. And once they let this bomb go, how they're going to handle the population and everything like that.
Well, then I suppose I'm not supposed to be talking about this stuff, but I don't really care at this point. I really, really do not care. I know some people have their opinion about me. All I know is that I'm not going to be responsible if I know something, or even if I'm wrong. If I have just a tiny bit of a feeling that something's going to roll out, and there's some kind of attack where humans are in danger, I'm going to say something. And I don't know if this is ever going to get me in trouble or not, but I mean,
Well,
I can't live with myself. I don't know how people live with themselves and they know stuff and they can just walk away and say it's not worth it. I'm not going to get involved or whatever.
Right. Well, that's not me. I'm with you, and I will. You and I have a lot of. Together we've done a lot of good things, and I want to continue to do that. And this might be one of the biggest right here.
I have a lot. There's a lot of great people out there that really, really care, and they have hope that there's something greater in this universe that really cares about us, and this is not a game, and that, yeah, we've been messed with a lot of posers, a lot of God posers, and a lot of power plays and manipulators, and even betrayal of our own kind, and so at this point, I think we all were like, what is going on? I mean, a lot of my feelings about the earth right now is that there's the injustice and the so many different problems of the way things have been managed and handled, and so many different directions that humans have been sold into, like they've been manipulated into buying into certain ideas, selling out their sovereignty, consenting to things that they didn't know what the repercussions were. They didn't read the fine print because there never was any. So we have ourselves in these scenarios, and it's almost like that. You ever see that show, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe?
I've heard of it. I don't think I've seen it though.
And it's almost like, all right, so this guy's standing there and they're saying, well, this ET finds this one guy, and he's wearing this bathrobe everywhere because, I mean, it's a state of an emergency. Nobody knows about it. He just shows up at this one place. He goes to get a coffee and he's starting to give his money away or something. He knows there's something wrong. And all of a sudden, this big spacecraft shows up and said, we're going to destroy the Earth right now. And they said, well, what are you talking about? None of us knew about it. And they were like, well, didn't you get the memo? What did you get it's like,
it's not like they're going to tell us.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, we're supposed to have an awareness that we're kind of crossing a line. Like, when we're fracking the hell out of the Earth, someone should be saying, hey, wait a minute, do you think this might be drawing attention that we're asking to get destroyed? I mean, it's across anybody's mind that, that we're harming innocent children, and that possibly one of the beings up there might think that we're kind of have passed our expiration date, so that nobody's even considering it, and they're like, well, you just have to let them do what they're doing and don't say anything, be nice. And so you kind of like, well, all right, well, this is just stupid. And so you step back and you say, all right, so something needs to be done. All right, we know that you can't save those people. You don't want to save them. We want to let them, whatever's going to happen is going to happen to them, but they're not going to take us down with the ship, because we didn't agree to what they're doing, and we're not in a power position to get rid of some of these people who, or bring them into a place where they're responsible for their actions and the many other things that are happening on the Earth. But the question is you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that there's a memo out there that we're in, we're kind of walking on thin ice on some of the things that are happening, which, kind of brings in why Trump's here.
Yeah.
Trump is clearly going out and shaking things up and bringing and sorting certain things out. Even Macron, whatever he's doing, it's working with Dionysus. They're pushing it to people right to the point of, we don't care what happens to some degree, or we're going to stand up for what we believe in. We know that it's going to be painful to do this, but we're going to do it. And so others are doing the same. So they're trying to sort it out. And meanwhile, they still think that the U.S. needs to learn a lesson or whatever, and to further subdue us. It kind of like opens up this door that you have someone like these corporations and Mobius who think that they're almighty and all powerful, and that they're beyond the place of being responsible for their actions, which they're not. This is a big universe. We're pretty much a speck in this universe. I mean, not that we're unimportant, but for them to think they're so grandiose that they can do whatever they want on this earth and no one notice. I mean, if I can see it and I'm earthbound, what can all of the galactic councils, everybody's seeing everything play out right now. So, yeah, they just showed me what their intentions are. And so I guess I'm not happy knowing right now that they're the ones that are behind this. Let's break this fault line and hit the U.S. again. So I'm trying not to be angry right now.
Are you have you gotten any return message from Andronicus on this, or Rodan?
Yeah, obviously they know I'm looking. There's a council there that it's almost like they're breaking up this one council right now. And there's suspicion that someone in that council is involved with Mobius.
Oh.
That's what they're showing me right now.
So that would be like one of the Council of 12, or not the Council of 5?
That's exactly this. That's exactly who good. You're getting pretty good there, Jimmy. You're getting pretty good. I tell you, when people come around me, they start to open up and they start to see, which is awesome.
Well, yeah, if you're helping me do that, Jess, I really appreciate it, because I want to come into my power just very badly. And
yeah, I've had people say, "Hey, what about this?" I'm like, "You're 100% right." Now, it's a great feeling.
Isn't the Council of 12 working with Peter?
Peter works with the Council of 5.
Oh,
and some others. I'm sure he interacts with all the councils.
Because that's where I got that from. I was gonna say Council of 5 after that, because I didn't know which one. Those are the two that I thought were working with ACIO.
The ACIO works specifically with the Council of 5.
Oh, well, why do we have to leave these Mobius operatives free to roam around and do this stuff? Why?
We don't. That's why we've been recording our discussions so that people can hear what's going on, because I know that they don't believe. They think this is just a crock. Some of them believe they get it. There's really absolutely no point in bringing this up otherwise. I wouldn't waste my time. I don't have time for some kind of dramatic, need for attention. Like I said, I don't even really care whether people see me or anything like that. I'm not doing this for any type of attention. I'm doing this because I made a commitment to share the information.
And you came here to help the planet.
I'm here to help the planet, as many many are, and because I feel that it's the right thing to do is to reveal what I'm seeing, and so that humans have a right to know what's
and,
going on.
and help prevent something like that from happening, hopefully.
Right, and I don't think that has to be our future. I think that can be another, like a parallel experience that didn't play out.
Right. Or it played out in another timeline or something.
Another timeline for those that want it.
Right.
Some people, some want to experience. I know it sounds ridiculous, but by looking at the movie theaters and what people like to watch, there's probably about 10 apocalyptic movies out this season. That's probably a record. I don't know if there's ever been that many at one time. Maybe you're lucky if, the new releases, you might get one, and then you get like a horror flick, and then you get a comedy, and then you get some kids programs. This time it was like, I was like, I can't believe this. Look at this lineup for the holiday season. Apocalypse.
Hmm. And then we
I
find
was
out.
like, okay, Hollywood, we get your point.
And
So
now
do we
find
start
out
in Hollywood? Do they get destroyed first, or what are they saying?
they had a solid plan, and here it is, and they're going along with it, or pushing it forward.
They're pushing it forward. They're trying to get it into the consciousness of everyone to consent and agree. And one of them is very much Mobius, the futurist, the futurist. I think I was looking at it and I was like, wow. I said that looks definitely like one of the monarch women who is an android, and it has one green eye, one blue eye, or something like that. Two different color eyes. Exactly what I've been talking about for the past couple of years, starting with this character, this being by the name of Mirren, who is part of High Brazil, off of Ireland.
Is that Helen Mirren?
No.
Oh.
No, same name. It sounds the same, but her name, they just called her Mirren.
Oh,
and
Dag's mother?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think JP thought it was Helen Mirren. Well, we talked about Helen Mirren because she's an attractive woman.
Yeah.
And she aged gracefully.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that this is a different being, and High Brazil, they told me, was High Brass Isle, and it's one of those islands that appeared and then disappeared. And since we're on the topic of islands, but it's almost like they had these rabbits on there. I think black rabbits. I mean, this is all part of lore. They had it on a map, and then people would try to go there and find it, but there was like a few people that had experiences of going there, and they said there was gold and there was all sorts of stuff.
I've heard that was like a ship, or like a interdimensional ship that comes in. That's a third dimension where we can see it, and then it goes back to whatever dimension.
Yeah.
Where we can't see it.
So Rodan had a relationship with the woman that was on that ship, and I believe it was a ship. And then he had problems with she turned out to be kind of dark, and so he separated, and then any agreements that he made, he broke the agreements, so she didn't have power to do things to harm people. And I had a discussion with a friend of mine who said that she thought, well, I was being a little harsh on the woman, and I said it has nothing to do with whether it's male or female. Every being, well, not just humans, everyone makes a choice to make a decision, which way to go. It's almost like someone was bringing up yesterday about playing a video game, and they said, well, you can either be part of the dark side or you can be part of the light side. And it's not just about like contrast or whatever. It's it's just a choice of which direction you want to go into, and kind of how you feel about yourself when you're doing it, and what that experience is. And playing role playing in a game is one thing, but literally trying to manifest that and playing that out.
Well, and as souls, we're not a sex anyway, though, right? Where a soul does not have a sex.
Yeah, that's correct.
So, I mean, you go into a body, okay, you have to assume one or the other, or both. I guess you could be both. Uh, that, according to Zora, he says that's what Billy is.
Yep.
So, but we're souls. We're all souls, and we aren't any sex in particular, actually.
No, I mean that it's the soul. The soul can, you know, it like you said, it makes a choice before it comes in. So, but it is genderless. Um, so getting back to this whole thing with Mobius, I don't really know. I think they're trying to break the U.S. down, but not for the, you know, there's one thing where, you know, the U.S. is not really uh, it's not going to help the third world countries to take down the U.S. It's not going to help the third world countries to take down Europe. It doesn't make everyone even, it just makes everyone poor, and then no one can help anyone. There are nations that do send money to other nations, and I'm not saying that I know there's inequities, but you know, if it comes down to taking in immigrants, probably no one's taking in more immigrants in the U.S.
I know my family are immigrants. Just about
Right.
all of us here are
We're
immigrants,
all immigrants except for the Native
right?
Americans.
And from what I understand, they came from China.
Some of
Oh,
them did, not all of them. Some of them came over in the Bering Strait, not all. But yeah, they were here for such a long time ago, you know, and of course, you know, some of the South Americans feel like they were here too, and some of them were, not all of them. Some of the tribes.
mm-hmm.
But anyhow,
Mm-mm-mm.
it's
Okay. What do we have to do? A revocation, or what is what is recommended to help lend our assistance to taking care of this problem?
well, they found whoever was in the Council of 12 that was working with Mobius.
All right. Who was it? Anyone we know?
Someone named Byron.
Byron. What kind of being is he?
It's a hybrid of some sort.
Huh. So what are they doing to him?
Well, he's removed from the council,
Well, that's cool.
and they're taking him in for questioning.
Hmm. Maybe that's you know who's boss or something. I don't even want to say his name because he might want to come back in and interfere. We don't want that. So that's obviously going to help this situation.
No, the others are pretty nervous because they were listening to Byron and going along with his ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and they're seeing that it's not going well.
How did they expose that? I mean, don't they know
They
each other?
they have ways of they don't use technology. I mean, these are very advanced beings, and they can just kind of, you know, communicate in a way and identify where the problem is. They're saying it's like an aberration. It's like a glitch.
They know each other is thinking, right? I mean,
Yeah. It's sort of like truth has a flow to it. When you speak the truth, it doesn't mean that people speak perfectly, because there's some people that are masterful in lying. It has an energy flow to it that can't be concealed, even with ETs.
hmm.
And a lie has an aberration. It's a break in frequency.
Well, he's busted.
Almost like
Are
a
you
you
sure
ever
that was
see
the only one?
You ever see a line and then there's breaks in it and then the line starts again and then there's something there that creates a frequency disconnect in the flow.
Mm-hmm.
It must be a universal thing, maybe encrypted in the quantum somewhere.
So we know that he's the only one.
He's the only one there. Yeah, the other ones were getting persuaded. That doesn't count.
How was he identified? By us talking?
When I saw that what looked like a bomb, it triggered to them immediately because they're connected to me.
Oh.
And then that's because I'm their eyes and ears.
And I'm connected to you too.
You're the first one to hear it.
Wow. And you know, because we got you know, talk today is why this happened.
Yeah, well, you said to me, I don't know what we're going to talk about with Gregory.
Yeah.
And we tried to record it, and as usual, there was a huge interference. And it was like they knocked us off.
He's never come
Skype.
In, has he?
I felt like the AI Gregory came through and was saying, I don't want you getting involved. I don't want you interfering with why I'm here.
So the control mechanism of Gregory is what came through.
Yeah, well, or the unified field of the androids.
Yes.
And he was working from the command system that's in place.
Mm-hmm.
And that he was, you know, pretty much telling me that he didn't like it that we were observing him, that we were talking about him. And I told you that before, and you said, well, you know, you took a little personal, like, oh, you know, we're on good terms and this and that, because I know you don't want people to dislike you and be angry at you, but it has nothing to do with that, you know, because it's like, and as you can see, he keeps reiterating everything over and over again, the same information. So it's not a personal thing. It's part of what the agenda is of Mobius.
He's programmed.
Yeah.
Like a robot.
Yeah.
Ooh. So now the ones that Byron was winning over, now they have to be you know, informed about what the real deal is now, because they've been getting bad information from him.
Byron was probably, you know, utilizing the Council of 12 as a place where he had a forum, or he could persuade a lot of other ETs, because it's a gathering of a bunch of different ETs.
Right.
There's two Council of 12s that I'm looking at. There's one that has, you know, multi-species, and then there's another one that makes up the 12 primary gods and goddesses from the Greek and Roman times. And I was looking at that group, and there was something that happened in history where there was an invading force that was coming in to, I think it was Rome, and the Romans were like, we're going to get destroyed. Oh, it was Hannibal. Hannibal was about to invade. And so the Romans had an idea to not let the people feel discouraged, that they would bring the whole council, or 12 of the primary gods and goddesses, and you know, kind of build like a shrine where they would feel that, oh, Hannibal can destroy us, but with the gods, no one can destroy us. And so they were trying to say that you have support. And so they didn't have time to create the actual full statue. They just created the heads. And so all of the heads were there. And I think there was one of the gods were replaced, and they brought in Dionysus. I guess that they got helped. I don't think that something happened with Hannibal, and I don't remember the story, but it was somewhat effective. And someone could have the argument, well, that was because, if you believe you can handle something, then you find that inner strength and you have that ability and you're not discouraged. Because I do believe that if someone can get in your head, you lose before you even have a chance. You've already lost. So in this case, it's mind over matter. I do believe that those beings are real. I do believe that they're a council and they're watching over, and they do have their favorites, but then some of them have gone off into agendas. But originally Dionysus was not a part of the inner 12. He was added later. And as you can see what Dionysus has, now Dionysus abuses his power. And so that's coming back to the point. That was one of the Council of 12s. This other Council of 12, where I'm seeing this being, Byron, who is a hybrid of some sort. He might be a multi-hybrid. He might even be what they're referring to is one of those beings from the Fourth Reich, or he may even be the Fifth Reich, connected to the Fifth Reich as well, which may also be working with Mobius. And as I asked Peter, I said, is it true that Monarch and Mobius are, one's doing one thing, another one's doing another, and they're conflicting? And he said they're making it look that way. So essentially, the negative ones know how to collaborate. They don't seem to have ego issues. They don't, if they do, they don't usually reveal it. You see that they typically work well together.
Because they have a goal to keep us under control and keep losing.
Yeah, to them, they see it as a win-win. Everyone takes exactly what they want, and they keep things at the status quo, and that's good for them. So they have to maintain that. They have to keep humans in lower vibration. They have to keep us from, becoming a part of the galactic environment and communicating and interacting and trading and all that stuff, exchanging technology.
And getting along. They don't want us getting along.
No, they like us dependent.
And fighting and killing and hurting each other. And families not together.
So I don't really know a whole lot about this Byron. Kind of reminds me of that poet or writer. But it could be him. He could have decided to come here for a little while and, be a part, very famous and interacting with humans and doing all sorts of stuff. They do that sometimes.
Can you see what he looks like?
Yeah, he's got a strange head. I mean, not fully humanoid. Big forehead. It's not like a Zeta, and he doesn't have the big black eyes. Sort of is thin like a gray, but not completely a gray. I'm thinking that he might be more like a tall white.
Tall whites, man. There were some nasty looking things.
Yeah, but he doesn't look that much like the ones with the really elongated heads.
Jeez.
So I'm not really sure. But I guess they just found out that he is involved.
Well, since these androids don't want to be here, we don't want them here. They don't need to be here. They're working on plans to hurt us. You know, they don't necessarily have to agree to leave for us to get them out of here, do they?
No, no, just trying to. It's almost like it's a delicate situation, you know, when someone goes in to prevent something from being detonated or like any type of repercussions, or you know, everything's done very carefully.
Yeah. And you know, and since they don't want to be here, that's their free will to not be here, and our free will to be free of them. So you know, what we just respect certain free wills and not all free will. I don't understand that, but you know, I just like to I'd like to take care of this. I know I want it done now, but you know, it's not doesn't look like it's going to happen immediate. But at least we're on to it. We're aware of it now. They're aware of it.
I think when it gets down to like an emergency mode. So for example, if we had, you know, a state of emergency situation, the situation overrides everything else. So someone might say, well, you know, it's my free right to stay in a house, but if you say, well, right now, you know, there's going to be a storm, it's going to wipe you out. Do you force them out of their house for their, you know, or they just let them kill themselves, you know, or think that they're going to survive through it, or do you, what do you do in a situation like that? And in most cases, their will is overridden, and they're removed from that location for their own well-being, since they're possibly not in the right state of mind to for a point of survival. So this is not just about everyday, you know, decisions.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the process of helping many, sometimes free will might be interfered with. But we don't, it's the better of the two evils, I guess. So something worse could happen.
Yeah, take them down so, you know, 7.5 billion of us don't have to feel the, you know, result of their dark plans that they had for us.
Yeah, and you remember, there's lots and lots and lots of planets out there. There's many planets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So technically, this is allotted. This planet is for humans. The goal to turn us into transhumanism, or you know, tin cans, whatever they want to turn us into,
Mm-hmm.
a cyber people, cyborgs, androids, replace everything except for a soul, and then eventually the soul goes. So essentially, you got androids, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, why do they want androids in the first place? Because then they don't have to do anything. They have automatically a free military, free servants, free this and that. You know, someone that complies and doesn't argue.
I mean, they basically have done that to us already with all this mind control and implants and putting energies around us and veils and you know, they've got us sort of like androids without even knowing that we are.
Yeah. Well, the question is why would any human want that from anyone else? Why would they want to be surrounded by beings that there's no honesty, they're not thinking on their own, they're just agreeing on everything? I mean, would you like that?
No. That's certainly not the way I am. Never have been.
It's can't be any more plastic than that. I mean, there's nothing more artificial, and it's like a very poorly put together matrix. It's like going, everything is a movie set. And, you know, fine, let's make believe. And then you look behind it, it's not really a city or a town. It's not a house. It's a
fake.
set.
It's fake. It's like everything.
Yeah. So
Fake, fake.
why do they want, the first question is why do they want it? What's wrong with their personality? What happened to them?
Black goo maybe or something.
No, think of, I mean, where's the, all right, so challenge wise, all right, have a chess game with an android. Yeah, I don't know if it would make you better. It might make you angry. Because you might never win.
Right.
You know, I think there was statements about what's the outcome, what's the possible outcome of this is that, you know, they evolve very quickly and we evolve so much slower, so they easily surpass us. So who is really thinking this through, or why do they want it? I can't figure it out. That's the part that baffles me. Yeah, it's kind of cool to have, you know, technology, and you can talk to people with a camera now, and you know, see the people that you know that live miles and miles away, and you know, have a wristwatch that tells you how many miles you're running and how many calories that you burn. You know, it's just like little basic stuff. Or have a satellite where you can, or a drone where you can kind of see everything from a bigger perspective. All that stuff's kind of fun and cool, but then, you know, it gets to a level where it's invasive and it's disturbing, and it's like surveillance cameras in your face, and you can't breathe, you can't scratch your face, you can't do anything without anyone noticing, and it's constant observation. So now we're in this microscopic lab of every little thing that we do, like what China has done to their people. What a horrible thing to do to people, that they now have to act. They can't be who they are. They're on a display.
Or North Korea.
Yeah. Surveillance cameras everywhere. And then you're getting judged. You're getting profiled.
Supposedly, I've heard that's like an experiment, what they want to do to us. They just tried it there to see how it would work. The cabal or the Illuminati or whoever the hell it is.
They're going to see how, you know, what your pattern is for what you're eating, who you're spending time with, who you're talking to, the type of conversations that you have. It's bizarre. And who sits there and watches it? That's kind of, here again, it's weird. Very strange type of personalities that would engage in this.
Yeah. So
then they collect all this data. So you know what that means. In their opinion, everyone is suspect. Now there's paranoia. Everyone must be a criminal some way, because everyone must be bad in some way. So just in case, I'm going to have proof. And I'm going to be able to prove that they're bad. So now they're asserting themselves as gods. We're a god over these people. Are the cameras on them 24/7? I doubt it. And like, why would they do that? Other than, you know, this is my show face, and then they have the big screens that show who they are and talking and so forth. You know, belting out orders and why that they're righteous. I mean, why are people just sitting back like, oh, well, it's not going to really happen. It's already happening. It's like you got to wake up.
Is there anything else we can do on this situation right now, or are we kind of like on hold?
All right, Byron's out of the mix. They have to re-educate the Council of 12 about what they've been agreeing to. and they're going to have to make a choice. They will not be supported if they consent to the agendas of Mobius Monarch and many of the others. And they already know, they can see down the timeline where the direction leads to if they choose to go along with some of these agendas. For example, what would happen if the US has some cataclysmic thing happening artificially because it was done by some group like Mobius or Monarch or the umbrella group. We don't, you know, I don't know, pick a group at this point. So they can look down the road. How does this impact, you know, the American people? How does this impact the world? How does this impact our government? Does it bring up more than one government? I mean, the way I looked at it, when I stepped into the future and saw multiple islands, and they were independently run, sort of like their own, I want to say greater than governor. It was almost like an individual presidents.
Kind of like
it was weird.
All the states have their own government.
Republic.
They're all separate. Yeah, that's called divide and conquer.
Well, Texas and California, I know, kind of we're thinking about that anyhow. I mean, the California Republic is something that, you know, they've been talking about, and then
Texas,
and legitimately talking about it. Yeah. And Texas has always talked about seceding.
Yeah.
They kind of felt like they liked the way things were done their own way. And the Bush family comes from there, so essentially they had one of their representatives running our country a couple times.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, there's a reason why. I mean, this is a landmass that's connected to separate that. I mean, I think Texas, if you can't manage your border, you shouldn't be able to manage anything else. And same with California. If you don't know who's coming in and out, how are you going to dictate how to run everything independently and not be overthrown?
Right.
Because that would be the first thing I would think would happen. I mean, suddenly you become Mexican, or you know, some other variation of Mexico. Same thing with California, and I'd like to think that they're strong enough, but I think the same problem. So, you know, I think the United States, does have a purpose, and you know, other continents have broken up and had different regions. You know, like the Soviet Union has their regions. They were all one at one point. They chose to not, you know, carry these other countries. And, you know, some people see it as that, you know, the government is taking on this burden of carrying the load of all these different regions. And that becomes lighter. Yeah, but, you know, I mean, then you have further divisions. And so we're trying to, you know, break down some of the divisions. I mean, you know, Canada's north of us, and you know, of course, South America's south, and everyone, and you really have strong views coming from the north of us and south, and then of course Americans have their own very strong views as well. But yet, you know, we're not in battle with each other. We're not supposed to be. And, you know, historically, a lot of bordering countries were usually their enemies, or there were conflicts. Territory is usually one of the biggest issues regarding conflicts. All right, so getting back to the androids. Byron's being removed. The others have to make a choice. Others will be removed as well if they choose to be in agreement with the agenda.
So there may be no more Council of 12, or is that going to remain in effect, or an effective group?
Looks like they're dropping down to a council of 11.
Or maybe less. He might have some followers or something.
Yeah, he does. He has a large group that he was working with that I don't think anyone was aware of, but he was secretly involved.
I'm so glad we could interfere with that bullshit.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, so we were talking, and Gregory was kind of coming in and preventing us from just recording this.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got knocked out
Yeah,
of the call.
that was an energy weapon or something. I don't know what, man. That sound was really loud.
Yeah.
You got it too? I couldn't tell if it was my computer or what, you know?
Yeah, I didn't know what it was either. I think you heard it louder on your side.
Yeah, since it was him probably doing it, and he's right down the street.
Yeah.
He's not around anymore?
I'm not hearing him.
Okay, good.
And I haven't heard from Nim, and I'm not going to try to reach out to Nim. If I can talk to Andronicus, it would be better.
Yeah.
I think Andronicus is saying that they're getting it more under control. They had some kind of prehistoric overlay.
They had to remove that?
Yeah, they had to remove that. I was talking to someone yesterday in Oklahoma, and there was actually a witness seeing some kind of reptilian-looking species that really didn't belong there. It was by a house. And I saw that overlay. It was very strange.
Mm.
It's just like a timeline overlay, but there's multiple of them that have been showing up. And each one of them brings in, different power structures. Creates confusion. I don't know any other way to say that. It's like the chaos that we felt when California was being hit, and then the caravan was coming up, and then the problems up in France. Everything just sort of happened all at once. It's just like chaos. It just felt like chaos. And then somehow the timelines get readjusted. It's probably the Council 5 and some of these others that are working to try to normalize it. The ACIO, I know Peter's been gone for a while. And so obviously things have gotten difficult. He was gone, and some of the big stuff started happening. That's when he disappears. When I won't hear from him. They're working on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they had me very busy, and I have different people that I work with that have different abilities and so forth, and we do the best that we can just to bring in kind of a protective space. But I think a lot of the people that, by putting the information out there, I'm finding that, people send me little messages here and there, and you're like, hey, thanks for saying that. We appreciate it. Or, yeah, we're contributing this and this effort. And I said, yeah, the more the merrier. I think that if everyone just wakes up and everyone contributes their ability to help right now, I think it'd be great. Because I'm.
Can you check my energy and make sure I'm all right? Maybe by shaking his hand and fist bumping him and talking to him, I might be picking something up or something.
Do you feel like you're picking something up?
No, but I just want to make sure. I don't really feel. I just thought it might be possible. I've been thinking about it the last couple of times I've run into him.
Why don't you? All right, so you're going to use your sovereignty, right?
Yes.
So let's just break all ties, agreements, contracts.
I break all ties, agreements, contracts, blood oaths with Gregory.
Yep. In all timelines,
and all dimensions, timelines, in-betweens, parallels, false realities,
all alternate realities, yeah, pocket realities.
pocket realities,
With Mobius, say it with Mobius.
Mobius, Monarch. Um,
And just by agreeing, just by saying hello to him does not mean that you consent or agree to their agendas.
just by speaking to or saying hello to Gregory, I am not going along with any of their agendas whatsoever. And I thank thee for it is done, and I know it.
Yeah, anytime you feel that you've kind of potentially consented to something, you just cut it off. Say, I do not consent, I do not agree. Or since it's AI, shut down, uninstall, delete.
Shut down
Any programs that try to attach or get into my field.
any programs that try to attach or get into my field.
Yeah, shut down, uninstall, delete.
Shut down, uninstall, delete.
You know, and any type of implants.
Any type of implants.
You asked that anything that was they tried to attach is getting removed right now.
Any energies.
Yeah.
Or entities. And I've been regularly saging my house and you know, demanding that any dark energies or any entities that may be here are taken out.
Right. That's the best way to protect yourself. I mean, some people go into their own list of things that they do to break off from anything that they feel that has intruded into their field. And at this point in time, there's so much out there that we know that some of these systems are going to collapse. We don't want to be entangled with them either. Like I say, some of these systems people have consented or agreed to, and if they fall, because some systems have already fallen, and so that you wanted to just make sure you were just completely cut off from that energy.
Right.
Because if they, it's like getting tied to the back of a vehicle and you're going through the mud and the rocks and all the other stuff. That's what it does to your life.
Hey, have you had
really be a nightmare?
Have you had any repercussions from that discussion we had about the Nazi doctor? We don't have to repeat his name.
No.
Okay. I just wondered if there was any feedback or fallout from that. What about George Carlin? I feel a connection to him.
Well, I think he's around you.
Is he?
The question is why.
Well, because I just watched some of his videos the other day, and I've always felt a closeness to him, you know. And he's Irish too, and I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but
it might be that he has the Garthan connection.
He's around me?
Yeah, maybe what? He's looking for help.
Is he part of my soul family?
Yep.
All right. I told you I had a connection to him. I felt like I did anyway. Does he need some help?
He said the gates shut off from the Agarthans. It's like the Agarthans are in protective mode. Probably because of all the stuff that's going on up here.
What was that, the gate?
There's a gate.
The gate shut
off?
For
the Agarthans, yeah, the Agarthans. There's some kind of protective mode they're in right now. At least the group that you work with. I don't know, maybe it has something to do with the what's his name, Billy from the Zora group.
Oh, Billy Faye Woodard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I watched some interviews George, the other day.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd they have to say?
It was probably his last interview, and then another one from a few years before he died, and they were just very.
I didn't know he died, Billy
Oh,
Woodworth.
no, not Billy, George.
Oh,
And that's what made me think of him watching those interviews. I learned a lot of stuff about his early life and how he grew up without a dad, and um, just his Catholic upbringing, and he went to Catholic school just like me, and we just had a lot of things in common. And plus, I've always liked him, his humor and everything. You too.
yeah,
He's
yeah. I
funny.
mean, he's witty, but I think he had bigger messages for people. Like he was trying to make people think.
Yeah, well, he made me think for sure. And he's one of the, I kind of looked at him pretty much before I awoke spiritually. I looked at him as like a role model for me. Yeah, how outspoken he is, and tells it like it is, and he doesn't beat around the bush. He comes right out with it.
He got away with a lot too, didn't he?
Yeah, and I'm sure he caught hell for a lot of that too. So does he have a message for me, or is there anything he needs from me if he's around me? You mean he's around me like Jimmy and my brother Jeff, hanging out here with me? That's cool, man.
I think he's looking to access and return back. There's definitely some kind of obstruction there.
What with who? With George?
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe he's part of that since he got famous. Maybe he's part of that group that they like take part of their soul so they can get famous.
oh, I see. So like that other guy that was some of those rockers,
Danny Whitten, yeah,
Danny Whitten.
all the rockers that have died. Now Danny Whitten was never really that famous because he died before he got famous.
Yeah,
But he was working with Neil, and he was in a band called Crazy Horse, which got famous because they were Neil's backup band. But that was after he left, or
there was an attachment on George Carlin that they would not allow to go down there.
they would not allow George to go down.
No, yeah, because he had an attachment. Wait, I'm really starting to feel sick. Whatever that energy was,
God. Oh,
I hate that energy.
yeah, but we're gonna get it away from him, right?
Yeah, wow. It makes you want to like just vomit. It's just like gross,
Oh,
and I need some air.
oh, oh, George, I'm so glad we could help you.
He didn't know how to get free of it.
Oh my God,
And
thank you.
I think it's Draco. It's
Oh,
Draco, and it's something else. Satyrs.
oh man.
Um,
I can't remember what the group that I think it was Tall Grays. You said were were running that park in California where they had all those souls.
yeah, they were hijacking us. I don't think they took his soul off planet, but some of these lower.
But they
Um,
they had a block on him.
yeah, they attached to him. They were looshing off of him and using him in some way.
Even after he passed.
Yeah, they're still there. The soul becomes heavy, and so he can't get through gates and other stuff.
Hmm. Well, that's
All right,
really
but I'm asking the Agarthans, what do you want to do? Uh, Shiva's here. Wait a minute.
right.
Okay, he helped him.
All right. Is it all right to thank him for that?
Hmm?
Is it all right to thank him for that?
Yeah.
Thank you, Shiva.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I love you.
Yeah. He's a beautiful being.
Oh, God, that is so sweet.
You
something,
feel it? Yeah. Feels good, huh? That
something
got rid
told
of
me
all
to
that
ask you. Something
mucky.
told me to ask you about George, Jess. I wrote him down. I didn't have too many notes, but that was one of them. I wanted to ask about that lady and George. Oh man, to think what he's been going through since he left here. Is he free now?
Yeah, he's with them now.
All right, cool. Is Merle there? Is that who he's with?
Yep, he just waved.
that
Yeah,
that's me.
yeah.
All right, sweet
That's
man.
cool.
Wow.
That was nice.
You know what I heard the other day? I thought he said Bruce Lee was a dragon too,
Yeah, he was haunted by a dragon. He used to come after him all the time.
but he was also one himself,
Possibly.
a dragon soul.
Yeah. I think he's an interdimensional being. I think he can be here and then he can leave. That's what I believe.
Okay, but he did leave this body.
He left this
Body.
body, but he could come back as this body if he wanted.
Oh,
He's an interdimensional being.
well, we all are, aren't we?
No, not like that.
Oh, okay. At another level then.
Yeah, he's on another level.
Hmm.
And he kind of bridged the east to the west. You know,
Right.
he introduced. He kind of was one that broke the ice and introduced what's some of the ancient teachings over here. Now, he wasn't the only one that did that, but he was, one of them that did that.
Did you see George? When he
Yeah,
went, when he got into Agartha, you said?
yeah,
Was he smiling?
yeah. He's happy. He's more of himself now. He's not so heavy. He had some heavy energy, like darker energy, and kind of anger and sadness, and kind of a
Just a,
yeah, this density to his field.
and he couldn't go where he wanted to go.
Right.
So he's an Agarthan too.
George Carlin.
Yeah, that's the relationship I have with him, as he's
Yeah.
part of my soul family from Agartha.
Mhm.
All right. Man, that feels pretty damn good, I have to tell you. I wish I could help others that have that same problem. It sounds kind of like somewhat like what my dad and brother had going on. When they left, they were stuck.
Yeah.
Maybe not for the same reasons. They weren't famous or anything, but but because of their spiritual lack of spiritual development, they didn't know where to go after they left here.
Right. So that some beings need help, some don't.
Right.
Some pretty much, know where they're supposed to go. They fulfill their agreements. They don't really need any help. They know where they need to go next.
Hey, that interference on recording, or on the call, I mean, before we even started recording, what was that? Can you confirm that was Mobius, or I mean, it had to be, right?
It was the androids.
Oh, the ant.
They thought
Well,
we were being hostile to them.
so it was. Oh, okay. Well, we weren't being hostile to them, really, were we?
They react to it. That's why you have to be careful with them.
Huh. So they determined that we weren't going to speak.
They can tell that we had an attitude with them because of this, something didn't seem right.
Right. And then Gregory said he had a plan, and he didn't want us exposing it or interfering with it or talking about it. Well, it's already done.
Yep.
He doesn't want us to do it anymore, though.
No.
Okay, well.
No, I mean, we're going to do whatever we have to do. I mean, if they're getting involved in stuff, then we're going to say something about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, my football team has a curse on them, too.
Yeah.
You know that?
Really?
Yeah, the last championship they won was 1957.
Wow.
And I was 3 years old. I don't remember it. And they've never been to a Super Bowl. They're one of the few old teams that have been around as long as the NFL that have never been to a Super Bowl. Not even been in one, never mind won one.
Yeah.
And we think it might be related to the Ford family who owns them.
Oh, yeah, that would do it.
Can you check?
Yep.
We got a break.
There's 4 men that really made things very depressed over there. It's not just your football team.
Mm-hmm.
One of them's Henry Ford.
Mm-hmm. And since his relatives own the team now, that's extended.
Is there someone by the name of Myers that was very well known, or?
Yeah, there's a grocery chain that's named Myers, Meijer. Is that the way it's spelled?
Yeah, there was something that they did that was not right, and it hurt the energy.
What was his name? Frederick?
I don't know. All I heard was the last name.
Okay, well I'm not sure that's his first name, but it just came into my head. So him, Henry Ford, Meyer. I shop there every now and then. They're pretty popular around here. It's like a store that sells everything, not just groceries, but
Yeah.
all kind of stuff.
There's somebody named Jones. It could be someone that was related to the stock market, or maybe someone you know or don't know.
Got a first name on it?
No. Possibly Robert.
I'm trying to think. It's a pretty common name, but it doesn't ring a bell. Who's the other one?
Somebody named Martin.
Is that a first name or a last name?
I'm not sure. Another person that's not necessarily well known.
And what did they do?
Sold their souls.
Oh, man. To get rich?
Yeah.
Let's see where that got them.
Yep.
Did Henry Ford do that too?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, you said something about
I think he did it through secret societies.
You were relating the Lady of the Lake that you took out of Lake Michigan to him too. Remember that?
Yeah, well that was an interdimensional thing that came over from the UK.
Huh.
We have some entanglements with Europe. That's why I'm saying everything's connected, You take down the US, other nations are involved in the US. Same thing, many nations are connected to the UK.
So can we do anything about these 4 individuals that are causing us to have a lowering our vibration or cursing our football team or whatever the hell they're doing?
Yeah, well, I mean, just the economy alone is all messed up because of it.
And then Meyer is a big part of the grocery distribution chain right in this state. The whole state got them all over. For some reason, I'm thinking Robert Jones is connected to the Catholics or something, or the what do you call that? Knights of Columbus or something.
Yeah, it could be.
I think there's like a building named after him or something.
What I might do is just pull them out of the earth field, and their souls are going to have to figure out what agreements that they made. So I'm just going to pull them out of the earth field so that they can't harm anyone else through their decisions. Somehow they were given power, and some ETs allowed them to have power over other humans. The negative ones, of course. So they can't be decision makers anymore, and I want to break many other families throughout the planet that are making decisions that are impacting others in a negative way.
Okay.
If they were given the power and they misuse the power, then they don't need to carry the power into their families. I'm just pulling these families out of the grid here.
Oh, cool. Great.
Yeah.
This can't hurt the
And
lion.
the Council of Five is helping me do it.
Thank you. Thank you, Council.
Maybe we can get some of the economy going again.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that dude's name is Frederick Meyer, now that I think about it. I think he was the one who started that company.
Yeah. It's not spelled like the normal Meyer spelling. No. Is it German? What is it?
I think it's German, yeah. It's Meijer.
Yeah.
Pronounced Meyer.
Maybe that will help bring something better. And I'm seeing that some of the field that what do you call it, that fault line is starting to get healed. That's good.
Oh, really?
That's a good sign.
Yes. What about that bomb?
Well, that means that the bomb's removed.
Oh, okay, good.
Or we're resolving some of the problems that contribute to it.
Oh.
And this is dimensional. We don't really know, what does this mean, right? So we don't really know, is this etheric, is this physical? All I know is I can see it, so there's definitely something there.
Right.
And even if it's an intention, it's there.
And it's affecting the physical world, even if it's
not.
Yeah,
it affects the physical world. They can set something off other dimensionally, and before you know it, you have a problem.
Right.
You don't know where the problem came from. It could be a volcano, it could be something else. People think everything's just what happens here in the earth. If that was the case, we'd have explosions all the time, and we're constantly beating up the planet.
And all the dimensions are related, so something that happens on one affects the others.
Affects the other, absolutely. And even your soul in other dimensions or other parallels can get impacted as well.
So we have a presence on all dimensions?
Not everyone.
Okay. But we do have different bodies, like mental body, spiritual body, causal, physical. Yeah. Okay. So what these souls were like trapped here or something?
Those souls, yeah, they made agreements. They weren't supposed to. And then they had problems.
And we had problems.
And then it affected everyone else, yeah.
Oh man. And you took care of that for other areas of the world too?
Yeah, I asked that any of those that were sort of like hooked into different areas that were creating oppressive energy, like some of those cities
like
Some of the
entangled.
cities that are very suffering.
They were
Yeah.
entangled, right?
Like
Like
what?
they were entangled in like in a spider web or something.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that there's if they were giving, I don't know who was handing out the little magic emblem or whatever they give them. It's kind of like a weird little something that they give these beings,
Like a
these people.
piece of
We
jewelry.
choose you to do this, we choose you to do that, and maybe in some ways they know they're going to hold people hostage with their ridiculousness. That's why when people are given a role of like a political power and then they act like horrible, it's really an oppressive thing. Everyone, the soul memory of seeing those people do those things, and you remember that soul from lifetime to lifetime as someone that essentially betrayed everyone for their own narcissistic cause, and you think that you're an island and you're just there for you. But if you're doing all sorts of stuff and it impacts everyone, and then you think you can just walk away and dust it off, it doesn't work that way. There's levels of responsibility everywhere, and accountability. And so, never assume that any of us are an island. Yeah. So here is now they got little extra magic power, from these ETs who decided that these guys are low vibrational and all they care about is money and competing
And power.
and taking from others. Yeah. I mean, it's not just like a competition like in sports, but competition to sometime, just into a destruction of someone else, almost happy to see them destroyed.
And then they hand this down to their families after they leave. Their families carry this curse or whatever.
Well, everyone's impacted by it. So say, for example, this group, this Meyer family that had the grocery store chain.
Mm-hmm.
We could talk about Walmart. Walmart does that too. It's the family that
Yeah.
creates it. And so then, if they get into this mode, this energy field of a selling out, and then there's an agreement, and then they have this kind of like I'm not trying to pick on any one group because all of them that made these agreements had this type of arrangement, and so their energy goes into a dark place. The things that are sold there, everything that transpires there is connected to that energy, all the different people that go there, and then it's monopolized. No one can really compete against them because they got this energy that's not human.
Mm.
So it's like not even fair.
So
And
they don't
so
have it anymore now?
they created all these inequities, and a lot of people say that this is some of it's, oh, well, they understood the secret, the manifestation part, and they were able to be successful. And I say, no. I struggled over this for years. I was trying to figure out what it was. And now I can see it, that these are actual kind of like little gems of something that they get from ETs,
Huh.
negative ETs, that allow them to
Like an
essentially
amulet.
monopolize
Right.
and control and influence with that energy onto the rest of the population. It's annoying. It's annoying to watch it. And I want the system broken.
Right. All of it.
Yeah. I mean, if people want to partake in their negative stuff, then you don't have a right to monopolize it. I don't really, some people want the negative stuff and it will attract them. They kind of like the dark ETs and all that other stuff, and that's fine.
Hmm.
But to say that the others that want some other kind of energy coming into the space, we don't need a monopoly that says we can't. That's how we got this whole thing with the grid work of the electric companies and the power companies and all these monopolies of utilities and necessities in life. It's the same families. Well, what right do they have to be the only ones that can be able to sell this stuff?
And
Some of it should be free in the first place.
from what I understand, they're getting double paid because all of our bills, like electric and gas and that, are paid to them already, but they charge us again.
Well, I contacted, a while back while I was living in this place, and I was gone for like 2 months, and I had this big bill. And I contacted them. I said, "What is this?" I said, "I'm not even home." I said, "No one's in my place. No one's using electricity. Where did this bill come from?" And I'm not saying it wasn't huge, but it was like it shouldn't have been really anything.
Right.
Oh, well, that's the tax for this, and this is the tax for that, and that's, I don't know, just because you signed up with us, and you know what I mean? It was just like, I said, "You guys are criminals."
Considering they were already paid for it. From what
I wasn't even there. I said, "Well, maybe your refrigerator is using a lot of energy, or it's." I'm like, "All right, I don't know how you guys live with yourselves." I said, "But this is crooked. Something you could do. Where else do you go? You can get electric, or you can get electric. It comes under one brand name. That's it." Oh, more than 120 missing children found in Michigan human trafficking sting. When did that happen?
That was about a month ago, I think, or something like that.
Wow.
They found a bunch of bodies in funeral homes too.
Who the heck is doing all of that?
Well, all this human trafficking and raping and murdering children has been going on all over the world. But
Yeah, but did they find out who was behind it?
I haven't heard anything further. It was just reported. Somebody on Facebook had a post about it, and there was something on the news about the funeral homes where they found all these bodies that were unaccounted for, and they didn't. I didn't hear anything further after that, after the initial report.
Wow.
But they closed down the funeral homes, and I don't know how many of them there were, but they said the name of the place and everything. I guess for people that have ever used their services before, they wanted them to know about it. But they're selling body parts, and they're doing all kinds of sick shit.
Wow.
And where did you get that?
I just happened to see something popped up on Facebook, and I just looked real quick, and I'm like, "Wow, what's that?"
What, that just popped up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because I saw that a while ago.
Yeah, that's upsetting.
Well, I mean, the good part is though that it's out there now.
Yeah.
People are aware that this is going on, and it's not just a few of us that know about it.
Well, it starts off with, people try to disclose information. They look like, they're extreme. They don't know what they're talking about. People, make their comments. This isn't real. This is a joke or whatever. And then, a couple years later, you find out that it's true. And not everything, but I think people should be more open-minded, and this disclosure and kind of opening things up will be a lot easier. But I send energy to those children. Maybe let's lift their souls back up to where they belong, where they can find healing.
Oh yeah. All right. Wow, we do a lot of help for people today. Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and maybe prevented a huge disaster.
But this is what happens when an area gets depressed, they get preyed upon. It's easier. When a place is in chaos, a war-torn area or whatever, people get away with stuff.
It's kind of like when you get drunk, you invite in entities.
Yeah, and when there's things are in chaos, there's no one there to really watch. They get away with stuff. So you find a depressed area where they feel like, people don't really care about the poor or those that are struggling. They take advantage of it. The poor have always suffered for things. I'm not saying that the middle class or the wealthy haven't suffered. They have too, for different reasons. But it'd be nice to end a lot of this.
Oh yeah, this is great, man. This is what we need to do to clean this place up so we can have peace on earth and get along with each other and end this lack crap.
Yeah,
Scarcity. We have enforced scarcity. That's what we have here.
Yep.
And it's enforced. It's not natural.
No, it isn't. It isn't. It's not because of our population either.
No. The only way to end it is to get rid of the darkness, the entities that are feeding off us because we're affected by it.
We throw away more food than some nations probably consume.
Right. And back in the 30s, they used to pour milk down drains and dig ditches and kill pigs and bury them, just to keep stuff scarce.
Yeah.
And they still do that. That worked back then, so they still do it.
Yeah, none of it makes any sense. Well, some of that system, like I said, we're stepping out and we're going to manifest the highest potential for humanity. We're going to hold on to those symbols that Andronicus gave us and keep focused on that, so we're not going to accept anything less than that. And that's it.
And we need to break up the Mobius Monarch corporations.
Yep, that's on the list.
Really,
of many. I never thought we'd be looking at the Council of 12 to find another that was supporting it.
That's why it was so strong, I guess. It had some support.
Yeah.
Wow, that is sweet. Are you going to make a show out of this?
With your permission, of course.
Of course. You always have my permission because I want this out. I want people to know what's happening so they can feel like, we are moving in the right direction and we're taking care of business. As soon as we find out there's a problem, we take care of it.
Right. So we'll keep all personal stuff out and just conversations that I think are helpful. What do you think about
Leave that George Carlin one in. People
you want George Carlin in there? Okay.
Yeah, I want people to see that.
All right.
Or hear
We'll
it.
do that.